We have witnessed a raft of Republicans facing increasingly hostile crowds composed of their own constituents at town halls across the country, but this one really stands out, and I think you're going to see why.
Well, the other one is the DOGE program. This is very closely akin to this is very closely akin to what Bill Clinton did between 94 Bill Clinton only plans to cut 400,000 jobs between 93 and 2000.
That was Representative Keith Self, a Republican from Texas's 3rd Congressional District, which is not only an R+11 district, meaning 11 points more Republican than the rest of the nation, but it's a district that's been under Republican control since the 1960s, more than half a century of GOP power in the district. So let's not pretend that this is some wave of liberals here, which of course is what Republicans would have you believe, because that's easier than, taking responsibility for your own aggressively unpopular agenda.
And now the Democrats are getting caught staging protests. Last week, the media latched onto a few town hall protests in Republican districts. Run-of-the-mill Republican voters allegedly yelling at congressmen about DOGE. But according to the Free Beacon, these weren't run-of-the-mill Republicans. They were Democrat activists organized by Soros-funded groups.
Well, that's convenient. Jesse Waters and right-wing media have simply decided that none of those in attendance at the town halls were Republicans, but rather just Democratic operatives, thanks to George Soros himself. And so as a result, everyone can just disregard everything that happens there, which I would remind you is a similar strategy to what happened in 2017 and 2018 when Republicans' town halls were flooded by constituents, and I'm sure those Republicans also wanted to believe that it was just the evil communist Marxist Democrats flooding into the buildings until, of course, Republicans lost the midterms by the biggest margin in modern American history, flipping the House to Democrats' control. So if they want to just pretend that the only people who are upset about DOGE are liberals while they barrel ahead with one of the least popular political agendas in modern American history, be my guest. And frankly, that seems to be the case because that talking point was happily embraced by Republican elected officials themselves.
I want to start with last week. Videos of protesters yelling at members of Congress went viral, right? But the content focused on the confrontation, not the why. Some of the people that hijacked those town halls are happy with the bloated status quo. They want the bloated status quo to continue. They don't want to get our country back on track. Yet Democrats are soliciting sob stories from bloated bureaucrats with 6-figure salaries. Give me a break. Now, it's time for us to tell our story.
Sob stories is what Republicans are calling tens of thousands getting fired from their jobs. There's this overwhelming sense among the GOP that federal employees aren't worthy of their paychecks. And that's not just my interpretation. They are literally saying that outright.
You can protest all you want outside of departments of this government. You can protest all you want, but the American people disagree with you. You're protecting the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy is not a business. Those are not real jobs producing federal revenue. By the way, they're consuming taxpayer dollars. Those jobs are paid for by the American tax people who work real jobs, earn real income, pay federal taxes, and then pay these federal employees. Federal employees do not deserve their jobs. Federal employees do not deserve their paychecks. And these are jobs that can be fired at will.
First of all, the irony of Marjorie Taylor Greene, of all people, suggesting that federal employees and workers at the NIH and the EPA and the DOJ and the CFPB don't deserve their jobs is rich, considering this is what this congressperson's government-funded salary pays for her to do.
Then January 6th happens, and next thing you know, I organized the whole thing along with Steve Bannon here. And I want to tell you something. If Steve Bannon and I had organized that, we would have won. Not to mention, it would have been armed. Yeah. See, that's the whole joke, isn't it? They say that whole thing was planned, and I'm like, are you kidding me? A bunch of conservatives, Second Amendment supporters went in the Capitol without guns, and they think that we organized that? I don't think so.
Get it? It's funny because she thinks January 6th didn't go far enough. That's whose salary our tax dollars pay, in case you were wondering exactly who here doesn't deserve it. To that point, MSNBC put together a really important mashup of exactly who it was that was fired for no reason. And once you hear what they have to say, I think it's going to shine a light on exactly why these firings are so infuriating and unpopular across the country.
I'm Oleg Shmura.
I am Dr. Ben Andrew.
My name's Cody Anderson.
My name is Katie Sandlin.
My name is Andrew Lennox.
My name is Nick Hand.
I'm Riley Ratcliffe.
My name is Jonathan Cammons. I oversaw cybersecurity for the VA.gov website, and about a third of USDS, including me, were fired last week. Without people like me ensuring that VA.gov is secure, the private financial and healthcare data of Americans' veterans is at risk of being stolen, sold to the highest bidder, and used to harm people.
We are standing in Yosemite National Park. For the past 10 months, I was the custodial worker here. I picked diapers off the side of the road, toilet paper, beer bottles, cigarette butts, you name it, so you didn't have to see it.
And I served as the Chief of Safety and Emergency Management at the Philadelphia VA. This was a mission-critical role that ensured the health and safety of all those who entered into our facilities.
I used to be a NEPA coordinator for the Wrangell Ranger District of the USDA Forest Service, where I would coordinate environmental review for projects in and around the town of Wrangell, projects that are crucial to the town's economy and its people.
I moved from Alabama to Maryland to start my new job in genomics education and outreach at the National Institutes of Health. My job was to help educate students, teachers, and healthcare providers about genomics to improve patient care and develop the future scientific workforce.
I was a technologist at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau for about a year and a half before I was fired last week. We were the ones making sure that you could use payment apps without being constantly scammed, that your sensitive financial data wasn't being collected and shared with shady companies, and that your data wouldn't be leaked in a data breach.
As the only aquatic ecologist at the largest reservoir in the United States, my job was mostly to monitor for water quality for recreational uses, making sure that when people are out boating or swimming, that the water quality is sufficient to keep people healthy.
Those are what Republicans are mocking as sob stories. Americans doing important work, virtually all of them, for less money than they would get in the private sector. But apparently, this is who GOP elected officials think aren't worthy of a paycheck. They'd rather heap more money onto the folks that align with their own values, people like Elon Musk, who's busy canceling contracts and awarding them to his own companies. See, that's someone who deserves more money, the richest man in the entire world. If you were wondering who Republicans really represent, all you have to do is watch them. Before you go, first, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we're now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they're willing to cater to this White House. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a great way for me to be able to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's completely free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support my work. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.